Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another video. It's been a while since we've talked and I think I am overexposed. And I made myself an Americano and I've been testing a vegan creme brulee recipe, so I have this leftover heavy whipping cream. So I'm just gonna add a splash of this to my coffee. I go through these phases where I drink a lot of lattes and then I want just Americanos with just like a little bit of creamer in them. This video is sponsored by Thrive Market, but before we get into that, I want to ask, how are you? How are your holidays? How's your new year going? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to know. Ours were pretty relaxed, but also I guess not super relaxed because we actually went to Mexico for Christmas with my husband Dylan's family. It was really fun. We went to a resort and they had a ton of vegan food options, way more than I was expecting, but it was very relaxing while we were there. And starting the new year has been pretty relaxed too. I've been trying to sort of ease into work instead of being overly stressed about it. And unfortunately, both me and Dylan did get a little bit of a cold in the beginning of the year, which also forced me to relax a little more. But things are starting to pick up, you know, getting back to the normal pace of life. But so far in my personal life, 2025 has been a pretty good year. So that's good. Now that we've caught up, I'd love to thank the sponsor of today's video, Thrive Market. I have been working with Thrive Market for years. Honestly, because I love them. They make it so easy to deliver healthy and affordable groceries straight to my door. I love how stress-free it is, and I love how they have all of my favorite products. If you're unfamiliar with Thrive Market, they're an online grocery store that aims to make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone. One of my favorite things about Thrive Market is they have really high quality products from their own brand and then my favorite brands that they carry. And they make it really easy to search for what you're looking for with all their different filters. So for me, I like to look for a lot of vegan products, obviously. But I also think it's cool that you can search for women-owned businesses, things that are organic and sustainably grown. And if you're gluten-free or follow any other sort of diet, there's a filter for that too. So it makes it super easy to find products that are going to fit into your lifestyle. My order is slightly different every time, so I'll quickly walk you through this one. I was looking for some more convenient meal additions, and I really like this pre-cooked organic quinoa mix. It's a mix of red and white quinoa, so I can just easily heat this up and add it to a meal instead of waiting for a grain to cook for forever. I also got a restock on some hemp hearts. We love adding these to smoothies and salads for a little bit of extra healthy fats and protein. I also got some steamed and marinated artichokes. I love adding these to salads and pastas. And since we're on the theme of snacks, I also got some lupini beans. I really love these. They have a really unique texture, and sometimes I just want to eat something savory that's not crunchy, and that's when I usually reach for these. They're a pretty good source of protein too. And then we got, Dylan loves this brand, these JoJo's chocolates. This time I decided to try their dark chocolate hazelnut butter filled bites, and they have added plant-based protein too. I also got some crackers because I love crackers. These are sourdough sea salt crackers, which sound perfect for me. I also got some more creamer because, as I said, I'm in my creamer and coffee phase right now. This one has no sugars added, which I personally prefer in my coffee, and I love how it's shelf stable too. Nutritional yeast, I like how this one has an easy open top, so it's very easy to sprinkle on top of things. And last but not least, I got my favorite olives, Castelvetrano olives. I know several people who say they're olive haters, and then they try these. They're so like buttery and they're not as salty as other olive brands. I love all olives, but these are just so good, especially with some crackers. Very delicious. Here is my complete haul. I'm going to be using some of these ingredients in the recipes I'll be making today. I love shopping at Thrive Market because finding all of these ingredients in one store near me is simply impossible. So I love how they have everything I need all in one spot, and they're always running sales and adding new markdowns on products, so I'm saving money too. If you live in the US and you want to try Thrive Market, I have a special deal for you. Go to thrivemarket.com/shoemaker, and in addition to all of the normal everyday savings you'll get just from shopping their products, you'll get 30% off of your first order and a free gift worth up to $60. So click the link and check it out. I'm going to put some of this stuff away now and get started on my breakfast. I'm craving something cozy and savory today. add some tofu scramble, and I'm gonna add some hot sauce to it, plus the rest of my coffee. I like to put the scramble on the toast. I forgot the hot sauce. I'm definitely a creature of habit when it comes to breakfast. I feel like a lot of times during the weekdays, I just make a smoothie because it's easy. But if I have the time, I love making a warm breakfast. I guess theoretically, you could prep a huge batch of tofu scramble and then like microwave it and just reheat small bits of it throughout the week. That would be a nice, easy breakfast. I'm going to try that. This weekend is very busy because in unfun homeowner news, we are replacing our water pipes. We're not replacing them because of a leak, thankfully, but we are sort of like preventatively replacing them. Long story short, the pipes that we have are like very old and they're not the standard anymore. And they're very prone to cracking because of their age and where we live, which gets extreme temperature swings in the winter especially. We've had several professionals unprompted look at our pipes and say, those are gonna break any day now. So we luckily had some savings set aside and we're choosing to replace the pipes preventatively so we don't have to pay for them in addition to water damage. They're coming on Monday. So we have a lot of things we need to like clean out because they're cutting into the wall underneath like all our sinks and it's gonna be dusty. So we have to empty some closets. I have to clean my office. I guess it's not even cleaning though. It's more like emptying the space in these areas to shove in some other room of my house to then put back into that space. So that's what I'll be doing today. Time, unfortunately, does not fly when you're cleaning. We let our dogs run outside and they decided to roll in something stinky. So I just got back from giving the dogs a nice little shower. I'm gonna get started on lunch. I honestly just wanna get back to cleaning and knock it out. So I'm gonna keep this really quick using some of the items I got from my Thrive Market order. I'm craving a salad. So I've washed some kale, rinsed out some beans, and I'm gonna heat this quinoa up. I do want it to cool slightly by the time I assemble everything so it doesn't wilt it. I like this quinoa because the only ingredients are water and quinoa, and sometimes these pre-cooked grain packages have added oil to them, which isn't necessarily bad, but sometimes I just feel like it makes the grains a little bit more greasy, and I want it to be more like fluffy because I'm already making like an olive oil dressing and I don't want to weigh it down even more. So I'm gonna get this on the stove and heat it up while I prep my kale. I definitely go through phases where I'm like really craving kale and then don't want anything to do with it. Usually coincides with the winter. Probably already know this if you eat kale frequently, but my favorite way to cut this off is just you pinch the stem and then you put pressure on the stem while you pull down and it will separate the tender leaves from the stem. I used to cut down the sides of each stem. That definitely takes way more time. And as a bonus, for some reason my dogs really like this stem. I think because it's crunchy, it reminds them of like celery or carrots, which they like. So they get a little treat, not all of this. Oh, Maya, you want a treat? Here you go. Wow, this is a really big kale leaf. Honestly, I used to make sure my kale was more finely shredded, but I find that if you massage it in the dressing enough, it really doesn't matter. So I just kind of like roughly and unevenly chop it up on a cutting board with a few extra chops for good measure. And that is good enough for me. So we're gonna transfer our kale to a bowl. I'm gonna make one of my go-to salad dressings. If you want an exact recipe, I recommend my fall farro salad. I will link it in the description of this video. Today I don't really feel like pulling that up or measuring too much, so I'm just going to wing it a bit. We're gonna start with 1/4 of a cup of olive oil. We're gonna add that. You know, I can't remember what acid I use in that. I might use apple cider vinegar, but I have a bunch of fresh lemons, so we're going to be using that instead today. Normally the recipe calls for fresh garlic, but I don't feel like doing that. I want this to be easy, so we're just gonna add a little bit of garlic powder, and I'm also gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, some black pepper, I just feel like a salad dressing is not complete if it doesn't have at least a little Dijon mustard in it. I put a little more than a little, but it just thickens it up so nicely. And it's not like the salad tastes like mustard, but just has, you know, like extra layers of flavor. Then I do like to add a little bit of sweetness. Today I'm just gonna use maple syrup. I'm probably gonna do like between half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. I always like making my salad dressings in jars because it's so much easier to just shake this up than to whisk it in a bowl and really make sure you're getting everything. It's a lot more contained in the jar and it's emulsified just like that. I don't know if we're gonna need all this for our salad, so I think I'm gonna start by just pouring about half of it-ish over our kale, the other half as a topping. I tend to like my salads a little bit less dressed than Dylan, so it works out well that way. I think I've said this like every time I make a kale salad, but if you're not massaging your kale, let this be your sign. It just makes it so much more tender. And I also like doing this before I prep the rest of my ingredients and mix them into the salad because the acid and salt in the dressing are also going to help wilt the kale a little bit more and just make it easier to chew and digest. But you know, you still feel like super healthy because you're eating kale. While I'm by the sink, I'm also just gonna add in 2 cans of cannellini beans that I drained and rinsed because nobody likes bean juice, okay? In their salads especially. Just put that in a bit. Maybe some of the dressing can get on my beans too since they don't have a ton of seasoning. I have a feeling we're gonna have leftovers. Now for the rest of the ingredients, we're gonna keep things pretty easy. I got some parsley. I love adding finely chopped parsley to my salads. I just feel like it adds such a nice fresh flavor. And parsley is relatively affordable at the grocery store. You get a pretty big bunch for, around me, like $1 to $1.50. We're gonna use our Thrive Market artichokes. They are basil and thyme marinated. I'm just gonna roughly chop these up so they're more evenly distributed throughout the salad. Knock those in. And I think that's enough today. You know, we don't really need to do that much. The quinoa is nice and warmed up, so I'm just going to add this to the same bowl. Then I'm just going to mix everything up until it's evenly distributed. I eat a lot of salads in the winter, but I don't always follow strict recipes. I sort of like to follow a formula, a green, some carbs, protein, and veggies. So here I'm using kale, which I feel like is the best in the winter and for meal prep. And usually I go with beans, especially if I'm in a rush, because again, easy prep. Sometimes I'll also roast tofu. My dressing stays pretty standard, but sometimes I'll add in different spices. And today for like the carbs, we're adding the quinoa, but sometimes I'll just make a bean based or bean and green based salad and then serve it with a slice of bread. I really like formula cooking because I feel like it's a great way to know you're eating nutritionally balanced meals, but you can vary it a little bit with the spices and specific ingredients. And in my personal cooking, I feel like it's what I do a lot when I don't necessarily want to look up a recipe. But if you look at the recipes on my website, I do feel like they follow certain formulas too, where it's like if you find a certain style that you like, I try to provide other options that are similar but a little different with the seasonings and ingredients. And that's a great way to add more plant variety into your diet, but not end up making a recipe you're not gonna like. This is looking mixed and ready to go, so I'm just going to put this into serving dishes and top it with a little bit more dressing and some of those hemp hearts too for an extra boost of protein. Do a little taste test for you. Oh yeah, that's good. And it really only took me like less than 10 minutes to put together. I'm definitely gonna make this one of my go-tos for weekday lunches, especially when I don't want to cook. You have anything you want to say, Dylan?
Hi.
I really wish I was born with a gene that loved to clean and keep things tidy. Because right now, I do not want to keep going. But we're gonna. Poor got Linda forced to resign with someone so disgusting can't find. We just want to tell you we're all on your side. We share your. Spent the rest of the afternoon cleaning, but that's boring, so I stopped filming it. But we're on our way into town now. Go to one of our favorite restaurants, Nora, for dinner. They just opened up a second location, which honestly in this economy I feel like every restaurant's closing, so good for them for opening another one. It's actually a little closer to us, so we're going to check that one out. And I think the menu's the same, but I guess we'll see. We just got home. We got some groceries for the week after dinner. And now it's time for dessert. So we're gonna try the JoJo's.
Let's do it.
I don't think we've had this flavor before. I love anything chocolate hazelnut, so I have high hopes.
You got me at chocolate. It does smell really good.
It smells really good.
Let me get one of them.
It's like the Ferrero Rocher alternative. I don't know. Oh. There's hemp protein in them.
Yeah, it says protein plus or something on the front.
There's 5 grams of protein in 3 pieces, so I still want to consider this a protein bar. It's very dark chocolate, but I like that. I don't really like super sweet chocolate. I think it has good hazelnut flavor. I feel like they'd be good too if you put them in the fridge and they maybe get like a little crunchier.
Yeah.
Because they're a little
even
soft
freeze
right
them.
now. Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna do that after this video.
Freeze them?
I give them a 8.5 out of 10. And 10 out of 10 is like the most perfect thing in the world. So that's still pretty high.
I was gonna say 7.5.
I think we're gonna make some mint tea and drink that upstairs. We've been watching Squid Games. We're very late. We're watching season 1. So no spoilers in the comments because we're gonna watch season 2 after this, but I don't want to see no spoilers.
We're watching
but
the finale
season 2.
of season 1 tonight.
We're watching the finale so we get to see what happens between the guy and his ex-friend who's actually a big jerk and maybe the worst person in the show.
I don't think we gave really any spoilers other than that his friend sucks.
Oh yeah. Okay, well I'll cut that out.
No, it's fine.
I mean, that one came out in 2020 though, so you know, I feel like it's been 4 freaking years.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it by now, then you're just
losers
like
us. Well, Dylan's gonna get started on the tea. I'm gonna sign off here. So thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all have been doing well. And thanks again to Thrive Market for sponsoring this video. Don't forget that you can get 30% off of your first order plus a free gift worth up to $60 if you just go to thrivemarket.com/shoemaker. The link is in the description of this video. You wanna say bye to everyone? All right, Lily. Lily is here to say thanks for watching. Actually, she's here to sniff the counter, I think. But we're gonna go cuddle in bed and hope you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I would pick Maya up, but she doesn't like to be picked up. So, bye.